some unit vector. In general, electric field is having a vector directional nature, so that any vector can be written as magnitude of the vector and unit vector in that direction. Unit vector in the direction. And so what is the unit vector in the direction of electric field in case of point charge? That is simply a radial vector. So in general, E is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. It is simply AR cap. Because we are in spherical coordinate system, the electric field goes radially outwards. So only we are having AR cap direction. Okay, only we are having AR cap direction. We are not having theta and pi component here. Only electric field is going radially outward. Okay, it is independent of theta and pi. Okay, so we are having this equation. It's okay. So next we have seen Coulomb's law. Okay, in Coulomb's law, once if we take two charges, say Q1 and a Q2, okay, and then we have seen the force between the charges. The force between the charges F is equal to Q1, Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square, where R is a distance between these two charges. Then again, the force will be having some direction. Say vector, again magnitude of the force, and some vector, unit vector in the direction of the force. Okay, in this case, the direction may be like this or like this, or it may be going inside like this. It all depends on the value of the charge. Okay, if it is plus, it will be going outside. If it is minus, still it will be going outside. If any one of the thing is plus, another is minus, then they will be coming inside. Okay, so again, what is the notation? Say if this is Q1, this is Q2. Okay, Q2. Okay, Q1. What is the force on charge 1 due to charge 2? What is the force on charge 1 due to charge 2? That means what? What is the force Q1 charge ku evlo force irukku due to a charge of Q2? That is F12. Say for example, if this is plus, this is also a plus, definitely the force will be in this direction. It will be going away. So what is this force? So you should know what is this direction. You should know exactly what is this direction. That is called F bar. Anyway, that remaining magnitude is same, but you should exactly write this direction here. This direction comes here. Okay, in this case, this direction comes here. How to calculate the direction? Okay, and again, if you take force on charge 2 due to charge 1, force on charge 2 due to charge 1 is equal to same magnitude, but now the force will be going in this direction. So exactly you should know what is this direction. Definitely these two forces are going in opposite direction. In case of Coulomb's law, you can write like this. F12 at any point of time is equal to minus of F21. Definitely it will be going away. It is in just opposite direction. But somehow you should know what is this direction. Okay, what is this direction? Can anybody tell me from the vector's point of view, whenever we are given with 2 points, what will be the direction of vector? Once if we know 2 points, say for example, I'm like this. Okay, I know these 2 point value. If one of my vector is going in this way, okay, some direction. Okay, please imagine these two are your charges. Definitely the force will be in the line connecting these two charges. It may go like this or it may go in this way also. Now it is I am showing here. It may go in the opposite way also. That's okay. So in this case, if somebody is giving you the point, say this point is A, this point is B, then how will you write the vector? How will you write the vector? Either it is AB vector or BA vector. Anybody? It is a BA vector. So BA vector can be written as, what is the vector nature from the origin? What is the vector nature from the origin of OA minus OB? Are you understanding? So this is like end point. This is like starting point. Okay. Given any value, say this is, now this value is, say for example, the value of A is something like x2, y2, z2, and again this one is x1, y1, z1. Then how can you write? Simply, what is the positional vector from the origin? So x2 I cap, okay, x2 I cap, y2 j cap, plus z2 k cap, minus x1 I cap, y1 j cap, plus z1 k cap. Okay. Once if you know the 2 points, you can easily calculate the vectors between the 2 points. This is the idea. This is the idea. And again, somehow, if these are all number, definitely will get some vector. Definitely will get some vector. Say for example, for simplicity, I'm taking your vector. Finally, you formed some vector. What is that vector we have taken? We have taken as BA vector. Okay, BA vector. So the BA vector, finally, it is having some value. Okay, some value. Say for example, 5j. I don't know what is the value, but we have taken the variable. For example, I'm writing 6j plus 2k, like this it comes. But for us, what is important? For us, only direction is important. Okay, anyway, we are having already magnitude. What we need is only direction. So the direction can be written as in this notation, like unit vector in that direction. Okay, unit vector. The vector that you are denoting should give you only direction and the unit magnitude. So what is the idea? To calculate the unit vector of any vector, you take that vector and you take the magnitude, and you take the magnitude. So now this will give you simply the unit vector in that direction. This will give you the simply unit vector. This is the procedure to calculate unit vector in any direction. Once if you know the 2 points, okay, after connecting these 2 points, first of all you should decide in which direction the arrow is. Based on that, you can find out the vector. From the vector, you have to calculate the unit vector, because you need only direction, no magnitude value we need, because magnitude value already decided by f, equation f. Okay, that will give you the magnitude. Okay, you need only direction. You need only direction. So whenever you need only direction, that vector has to be like, that vector has to be like only unit vector. That vector has to be only like a unit vector. Okay. So what is the idea here? So what happens in case say in case of this one, say q1 and q2, they are writing it as f modulus and ar cap, unit vector direction. So just now we have seen, whenever you want to have a unit vector, okay, and unit vector, how you can calculate the unit vector? Unit vector is, yes, say some vector. The vector can be anything, and again the magnitude of that vector. You can take any vector, okay, again magnitude of the vector. Okay, this is the idea of the Coulomb's law. So now I will go to the document. We are explaining this Coulomb's law only. What we have taken, there are two charges. Distance between the charges is r. Once if it is r, then force between the charge will be q1 and q2 divided by r square. It's okay. Then what happens next? And they say instead of proportionality constant, instead of proportionality, again they are substituting some k value. You know that k value 1 by 4 pi epsilon in general, and epsilon is epsilon naught into epsilon r. Okay, epsilon naught into epsilon r, where epsilon naught is a permittivity of the free space. Okay, and epsilon r is a relative permittivity. Yesterday I clearly told, once if your epsilon increases, E field decreases, or otherwise force decreases. Once if your epsilon increases, E field decreases or force decreases. That means what? More the permittivity, okay, more the permittivity, lesser the electric field or lesser the force. Okay, more the permittivity, lesser the electric field or lesser the force. Okay, and you know what is the value of epsilon naught? General, the value of epsilon naught is 8.854 into 10 power minus 12. Okay, and the value of epsilon naught can be written like this also. Please remember these things. These are all very important. Instead of 8.854, you can remember like this also. What is that? In the numerator 10 power minus 9, the denominator 36 pi, 36 pi. Or otherwise, the k itself can be replaced. K means what? Overall 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught itself can be replaced by, in the numerator, by 9 into 10 power 9. Simply in the exam they will replace this actually. Instead of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, you should know these values. Okay, 9 into 10 power 9, then directly you can give the answer. Say for example, how in the exam they will give you like this. Say see what they will give. Q1 they will give 1 nano coulomb like that. Q2 also they will give you 1 nano coulomb. Okay, then they will simply tell the distance between these two charges is 1 meter. Then what is the force they will ask? What is the force they will ask? What is the force? Anybody? I have given you all parameter Q1, Q2 and distance between the charges. See, instead of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, you should simply remember 9 into 10 power 9. 9 into 10 power 9. So first charge is 1 nano coulomb. So that means what? 10 power minus 9. Okay. Next charge also 1 nano coulomb. So 10 power minus 9. Okay. Divided by r square. Anyway, 1 into 1 square is 1. Okay. This 10 power minus 9, 10 power plus 9 will cancel out. So what is your final answer? Your final answer is 9 10 power minus 9 force. What is the unit of force? Newton. 9 into 10 power minus 9 Newton. That is the answer. So what is important here? See, you should remember this value. If you are not able to remember this, then definitely you will not get an answer. Okay. Even if you don't want to remember this also, please remember this, because from this you can derive anything. Once if you know, you can derive this, or once if you know this, you can derive this. Any one of this, please remember. And anyway, already you know this value. What is epsilon naught? Okay. Now what happens? See, now they clearly given. Say for example, if my one charge is placed here in Q1, if another charge is placed in Q2, okay, they are placing anywhere on the 2D surface. Okay, whenever I am having two charges, I can place anywhere, not only in 2D, in 3D, I can place anywhere on the 3D coordinate system. Once if I place like this, what happens? What happens? Definitely the force will be either in this direction or in this direction. Once I calculate any one of the direction, if I put simply minus, then I can go to this direction. Okay. So at least you should know any one of the direction. So first of all, we should decide. Okay, they clearly given force on Q2 due to Q1. Force on Q2 due to Q1. That means what? Finally, the force will be going in this direction. That is the idea. Force on Q2 due to Q1. Again, to avoid confusion, we are simply assuming all are what? Positive charges. Okay. Again, we are in the beginning stage. So to avoid confusion, both are positive charge. Both are having positive charges. So definitely the force on Q2 due to Q1 definitely will be in this direction only. So once if I know this is my direction, okay, this is my direction, say this is a point A, this is a point A, this is a point B, and definitely my vector is going in this direction. Then how to calculate my vector? First find out the positional vector of B and then minus of positional vector of A, minus of positional vector of A. How to calculate the positional vector? Anyway, this is the origin. Positional vector has to be calculated from the simply from the origin. Okay, that positional vector name we are calling it as R2. Okay, R2 for a point 2 we are calculating. So this is they are calling it as R2. For this one, the positional vector is R1. Now you know two vector. Once if you take a difference, you will get a vector. Definitely that will be having some magnitude, but we are not interested in magnitude. Okay, we are interested only in direction. So that's why after calculating everything, say after calculating the difference R2 vector minus R1 vector, then you divide that by that magnitude. So that will give you the unit vector in the direction. Unit vector in the direction. Say they given A12 vector like that. But please note down here they are using in the opposite way. A12 they are indicating like a vector that is going in this direction. Okay. Again, for what they are telling, force on Q2 due to Q1. Initially, I told in the different way like this. It's okay. You follow some notation. That's it. Okay. So finally, this is my vector. And once we divide by the magnitude, you are getting the unit vector. And again, it's very simple. Once if you calculate this, if you put minus, you will get that value. So what happens? Say this you have already calculated. Once if you reverse this, so instead of R2 minus R1, you can put R1 minus R2. Then definitely previously your vector was going in this way. Now definitely it will go in this way because you have introduced a minus sign. Just to flip R1, R2 and R1, you are just flip. Okay, remaining again F1 also you can calculate like this, and the magnitude of the force will be there always. What is the magnitude? Q1 and Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R2 1 square. And please remember this distance is constant always. This is this capital R. See, they are using one capital R, no, R12 or in this case R21, whatever it may be. That magnitude is always same. R12 or R21, that magnitude is always same. That means what? Distance between the charges is always same. That is the idea. Okay, this is the example for Coulomb's law. And then next question arises, if there are more than one charges, say in this system I am having a charge, in this system I am having a charge 1, I am having a charge 2, okay, charge 3. There are 3 charges. Okay, now my test charge is here. Okay, now what I want to find, so what is the force on my charge Q due to charge Q1? Okay, I don't know, this may be in this direction or it may be going in this direction. It all depends on what's our charge values. Either it is positive or negative. Okay, either it is positive or negative. I don't know. Okay, next, what is the charge on Q due to the next charge, say Q3, and what is the force on my charge due to the charge Q2? Okay, whenever there are more than 2 charges, then you have to apply the superposition principle. So what is the idea? One by one you have to calculate, sir. Say my final force is, what is the force on charge 1 due to force on, this is the point where you have to measure your force. Okay, so all forces will be acting on this charge. So what is F1? F1 means what? Force on Q due to Q1. So next what you have to find? Force on Q due to Q2. That I can call it as a F2. And similarly F3 I can calculate. Similarly, if any number of charges comes, I can calculate the force. Finally, I will get the final force, superposition of all the forces. Okay, it may be positive, it may be negative, or it may be 0 also. We don't know about that. Once you, after calculation only, you will come to know what is actually happening. Okay, this is the idea. If we are having more than one charges, you have to apply the superposition principle. That's it. One by one you have to do. One by one you have to do. Okay. Now I will give you one exercise. Okay, I will give you one exercise. You just try to do it. Okay. Take a 2D coordinate system. For simplicity, I am giving you only 2D, not going to 3D and all. Take a 2D coordinate system. Okay, and you please note down all of you in your notes. Then only you will understand and appreciate these concepts. Okay. Take a square like this. Okay, take a square like this, and for simplicity, take the sides of the square is 2 meter. Once if it is 2 meter, definitely here 1 meter will be there. Here 1 meter. Sides of the square is 2 meter. Okay, all the sides are having 2 meter distance. Okay, all the sides, like these sides also 2 meter. Okay, now I am having 4 charges. Okay, I am having 4 charges. I am keeping one charge here, another charge here, Q2 and Q3 and Q4. I am having 4 charges. Okay, now all my charge value is same. Say Q1 and Q2 and Q3 and Q4, all my charge value is same. Say for example, it is 1 nanocoulomb. Okay, what I am giving, all the charges that is present on the corner of the square is 1 nanocoulomb. Okay, 1 nanocoulomb. Now what I am doing, I am placing here one charge. Okay, that charge value is, let it be 2 nanocoulomb. Okay, I am placing a one more charge that is at the center point, that is 2 nanocoulomb. Okay, anyway, already I have given you the sides of the square. Based on this, you can calculate this distance. Now you find out what is the force on the charge that present inside the center due to all these four charges. All these 4 charges. Okay, you finally find out the answer. Either it is positive or negative or 0. Okay, if at all you are getting some value, in which direction the force goes, final force. Okay, you just try to find out. Okay, you come up with a solution. Again, what you have to use, a concept of principle of superposition. You have to use principle of superposition. You are given with 4 charges of equal value, and one more charge of 2 nanocoulomb that is present inside the center point. You have to calculate what is the forces on the charge 2 nanocoulomb due to the charges that are present on the corner of the square. So, okay, I have given you all relevant parameters. You just come up with the solution. Okay, and tomorrow. Yes, sir. Are you getting this assignment? Yes. Everyone? Yes. Yes. No.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Yeah, give me some answer. Yes, okay. 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 This is the superposition principle. Next, concept of electric field intensity comes. Concept of electric field intensity. And here, what is important in case of electric field intensity? Say, for example, I am having some charge here. Okay, definitely electric field will be going radially outwards. Okay. Now I should. So to denote this only, what vector we are using? Radial vector, AR cap. To denote this only, we are using which vector, sir? AR cap vector. Okay. Now my question is, so suppose if this is your origin, then okay, this is your AR cap vector. Say for example, in a coordinate system, I am placing my charge in somewhere else, not at the center point. Okay. Now I want to measure a electric field in this point. Okay, I am placing my charge somewhere on the coordinate system. I don't know X, Y, Z. Now I want to find out my electric field in a new place, say that value is x1, y1, z1, then how to calculate the electric field strength and what is the direction and what is the direction? Are you all getting this point? Okay. Again, I will give you some value. Say if my center point is, for example, 1, 2, 3. If my center point is 1, 2, 3, this is a point where I am placing my charge. Okay. Now I want to measure the electric field at a point. Say for example, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Somebody please come up with the answer on tomorrow. This is the point where I have placed my charge. Say that charge value is, say for example, 1 nanocoulomb. How much charge I am placing? I am placing 1 nanocoulomb of charge. Then what is the electric field at the point of 4, 5, 6? Okay, are you all getting this question? I have given you a charge value 1 nanocoulomb. Where I am placing? I am not placing at the origin. Once if I place it at the origin, it is very simple, but I am placing somewhere else. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I want to measure the electric field here. Okay, do you need one more charge or what, sir? You no need to measure the electric field at any point. Anybody? Now I have given you only one charge. Do you need one more charge or not to measure the electric field? Any answer? Now I want to measure the electric field. No idea. See, what is the definition I have given you yesterday? Yes, one charge is enough. Okay. So first try to understand the relation between, anyway you note down this problem, then I will give you the solution. First you note down this problem. Okay. So what is the, yes, okay, what is the relation between force and electric field, sir? Say for example, force we have taken as Q1, Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square, like this we have taken. This is the force between these two one. Say for example, in this case you take that Q1 is a fixed charge, sir. Q1 is at a fixed position. Okay, Q2 is in your hand. Say that is movable. That is movable. Okay, that is movable in the sense you can vary R. Okay, you can vary your R. You can take the Q2 in your hand. Okay, so once if you measure, sorry, wait a bit. Okay, once if you measure F by Q, once if you measure F by Q2, because anyway Q1 is fixed. Okay, once if you measure F by Q2, what it will give, sir? It will give you electric field at that point. What it will give you? It will give you electric field at that point, because by definition what we have told, force per charge, force per unit charge is called electric field. Force, please note down in your notes, what is the definition of the electric field? Force per unit charge. Or otherwise you can take this in this way also. Say for example, I raise this. Say now you take Q2 as a 1, sir. You take Q2 as 1 coulomb positive charge, 1 coulomb of positive charge. That is called a test charge. Okay, what do you mean by test charge? If the charge value is 1 coulomb and if it is positive, that is called positive test charge. If Q2 is equal to 1, is it not equal to E? Yes. What is E? Once if Qt is 1, you are getting Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This is something equal to electric field at that point. Electric field at that point. What I am telling, the force on unit positive charge is called as electric field. Yesterday I told you the force on unit, please note down clearly, the force on unit positive test charge is called as electric field. Okay, the force on unit test positive charge is called electric field. Okay, அதாவது anyway நேத்தே சொன்ன force depends on two factor. எவ்வளவு டிஸ்டன்ஸ்ல நீங்க இருக்கீங்க, உங்ககிட்ட எவ்வளவு சார்ஜ் இருக்கு. ஓகே, ஃபோர்ஸ் டிபெண்ட்ஸ் ஆன் டூ ஃபேக்டர். எவ்வளவு டிஸ்டன்ஸ்ல இருக்கீங்க, உங்ககிட்ட எவ்வளவு சார்ஜ் இருக்கு. If your charge value is 1 coulomb, the particular force that you are realizing is called as electric field. Okay, please note down very clearly. Okay, what I am telling, this is very important definition. Okay, yesterday I have clearly told force is equal to Q1 Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. If Q2 is equal to 1, definitely when Qt is 1, if Q1 is fixed, this is realizing some kind of force. The Qt is realizing some kind of force. That force is Q1 4 pi epsilon naught r square. See what I am telling, if this is a Q1, I am placing 1 coulomb of test charge. Okay, now what will be my force? That force is Q1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. What I am telling, the force realized by 1 coulomb of charge is called electric field at that point. By definition, this is the electric field. Okay, electric field. The force realized by 1 coulomb of test positive charge is called as electric field. Okay, if it is a 2 coulomb of charge, definitely it will realize 2 times of the electric field. Okay, what is the idea behind this? Okay, what is the idea behind this? Once if I know electric field, somehow I know electric field, what is the usefulness? Okay, so once if my charge value is 1 coulomb, it will realize this much of force. Once if my charge value is 2 coulomb, this will realize this much of force. If it is 3 coulomb, this will realize this much of force. That's why F is called as Q into E. That's why at any point of time F is called as Q into E. Okay, what is your electric field? How much charge you are having, that much force you will realize at that point. That much force you will realize at that point. So that's why, what is the definition of the electric field? Force experienced by unit positive charge is called as electric field. Okay, electric field. Or otherwise, you can write this definition in this way also. F is equal to Q into E. Sometimes they used to write F divided by Q. This is also okay. Force per unit charge. Force per unit charge is called as electric field. In the book, they used to write like this. Force per unit charge is called as electric field. Okay, electric field. And somebody please note down this. Now I know electric field unit is volt per meter. Force unit is Newton. Charge is coulomb. And please come up with unit relationship, whether it satisfies or not. You know what is electric field? That is volt per meter. You know what is force unit Newton, and then unit of charge is coulomb. And finally, whether these two satisfy or not. Either you have to bring left hand side equal to right hand side, or right hand side is equal to left side, and both are okay. Okay, you just try to do that. Okay. So finally, I have given you what is the electric field. So electric field, we have seen it separately actually. Then Coulomb's law also separately. Then there are relationship between the Coulomb's law and electric field. Coulomb's law and electric field. So what I am telling, finally, force and electric field, they are not completely different. They are same one and another. But the idea is force experienced on unit positive charge is called as electric field. Okay, it's called as electric field. That means what? From force you can calculate electric field, or from electric field you can calculate force. That is the idea. That is the idea. Okay, so next anyway, in the last class, I think few classes before, we have discussed what is point charge, what is line charge, what is surface charge, what is line charge density, surface charge density, volume charge density, what is its relationship. Everything we have seen. Anyway, that only they are given here. Then directly I will go to electric field due to infinite line charge. Okay, so now we are in this discussion. What is this? Electric field due to infinite line charge. Infinite line charge. Okay, before going into this, I will give you some intuitive idea. Okay, intuitive idea. That idea is, so whenever there is an electric field, say in a line. See, this is my line. Okay, in that line, I am having a charges. Okay, previously I had only one charge, point charge. Then we have calculated what is the electric field or force due to this charge. Now my charge is in this fashion. It is arranged. It is arranged in a line. Okay, it is arranged in a line. Please wait. It is arranged in the line like this. Like this. Okay, then first of all, once it is arranged on a line, you should know where it lines falls on the coordinate system. Okay, in this case, I have simply drawn according to our concept. Once if you take, this is our coordinate system, I have placed my charge where, sir? In y-axis. In y-axis. Somebody may come, he may put the charges like this. That means what? He is placing the charges in z-axis. He is placing the charges in z-axis. Or some fellow may come, he may put the charges like this. That means what? He is placing the charges on x-axis. Okay. Okay, x-axis. Axis of the line and x-axis is same. So first of all, you should know whenever there is a line charge comes, where it falls. Okay. Or otherwise, it can fall anywhere on the coordinate system. Okay, anywhere on the coordinate system, but you should know the equation of the line. Okay, equation of the line. You can place anywhere on the coordinate system. Say you can take 1, 1, 1 point. Okay, 1, 1, or otherwise from